Hey everybody, ronarray here, and my Chaos Minion Lich Build survived a few very big metamorphoses. So in this video, I wanted to do a proper endgame guide for it, showcasing all the skills that I'm using to clear tier 15s and tier 16s, what I'm currently utilizing to both survive better, deal better damage, and just feel better in general while farming endgame wastelets. I will be able to explain all the mechanics and things that you might use. Please look at the timestamps if you're interested in some particular topics or if you just want to see some particular parts of gameplay. And let's go! So while I've been playing the campaign, I've been using the combination of chaos skills and minions. And that combination been pretty good, especially after GGG buffed minions significantly. But in the proper endgame, we will need to choose and go minions way or chaos way. And currently I'm preferring chaos way because in my opinion it could be a little easier to scale and it could stack with the whole set of Lich better. So in this video I'm going to just focus on chaos skills and showcase what I'm using. So our main skill is still Essence Drain. Essence Drain dealing a pretty decent amount of chaos damage, but the main part of the damage that you need to look for is damage over time. So if you want to see how much damage you are doing, open your Essence Drain and move to damage over time, because that part is going to showcase your real damage. With Essence Drain, we are going to use a set of interesting supports. First of which is not really that obvious, and that Deliberation. In my opinion, Deliberation is absolutely amazing. It providing 20% of more damage for all skills with which you can move. And Essence Drain is one of those skills. So right now Deliberation is just taking a little movement speed away, so you're not going to be that fast, but otherwise it's working so well and it's providing pretty decent damage to both damage over time and projectile. On top of it, we are also going to use Swift Affliction, which is pretty obvious and we've been using that before. The next support is considered Casting, we are losing some cast speed but receiving more damage. And the last one is Deranged. Deranged right now is kinda questionable and mostly used for bosses. When you're not fighting against bosses, I'm usually replacing Deranged with a Chain as a number 4 slot. When you will have 5 slots, you will be able to use both Chain right here and Deranged in the last slot. You can also try to use something like Zenith, but I'm not a big fan of Zenith currently, because Zenith in my opinion is not really providing a stable bonus, because we are losing a lot of mana while we are casting our skills and it's hard to stay at maximum mana all the time. That way I prefer to run Deranged and Chain, so just change it based on the situation. While you're running mobs, using Chain is probably better, and when you're running bosses, just running Deranged is a better idea. The next skill is Contagion, which is the first skill we are practically using before we are using Essence Drain. So rotation is very simple, we are just using Contagion, after that Essence Drain and adding Dark Effigy. For Contagion, I'm using Magnified Effect, Unleash and Inspiration, because amount of mana that Contagion is currently taking is very high. On top of it, it's not really that important to add more supports to the current setup, because for Contagion we don't really need many of those. However, if you will decide at some point to add more, you can check the written guide in the description for more information. Generally running something like Intense Agony could be nice for it as well. And the next skill is Dark Effigy. I'm currently not using Dark Effigy as the main damage source, but mostly like a debuff way. For debuff we are using Withering Touch to make sure that we have enough Wither debuffs on the enemy, together with Arcane Tempo and Acceleration. Arcane Tempo providing higher cast speed for Dark Effigy Totem, so it will be able to cast significantly more often. And Acceleration is going to give us projectile speed, so it will hit enemies much more often too, and it provides a lot of quality of life that way. You can also add the last part, such as Ancestral Urgency for example as the next gem, or Firewood. I'm going to showcase most of those in the guide. Going further, we have a Despair, and for Despair we are using the second weapon set because the Despair is self-cast. With the proper weapon set for Despair, we can receive just immediate eruption. So when I'm casting Despair, as you can see right now, I can't even see that because it's practically used without any kind of delay, and that's a very cool feature. I'm going to showcase all the changes in the tree to reach that amount of speed for this player a little later on. And right now, as a support, I'm using Persistence, Heightened Curse, and Focus Curse to make delay significantly less. Moving forward, I'm also using the Blasphemy for the second curse, and my second curse is Temporal Chains. I think Temporal Chains right now is a very good thing with Blasphemy. It's going to help you significantly against monsters overwhelming you. So as a support, I'm using a Ritualistic Curse and Encumbrance. Both of them are pretty nice, and it should work just fine without a lot of issues. As the last part, I'm using Convalences, and for the Convalences, I'm using Second Wind. A lot of people have been asking if Second Wind is working with Convalences, and as you can see right here, I have two charges, and I can use both of them, so Second Wind is working with it. However, Second Wind cooldown is very high, and in some particular cases, it could be better to just drop Second Wind completely and have only one Convalescence charge, but just buff it with Ingenuity and Warm-Blooded. I also think Warm-Blooded right now is one of the best options that you can currently pick. For 15 Spirit, it can provide 50% less freeze duration on you while supported skill is active. It's helping significantly against freezes, so if you being frozen pretty often, I think running Warm-Blooded would be a great option. And the last part is just Withering Presence. Withering Presence is here just for potential boss fights. I'm usually not activating that, but when we are fighting some particular bosses, you can deactivate Blasphemy and activate Withering Presence, or we can deactivate Convalescence and activate Withering Presence. Just choose the one that you prefer because both of them are working pretty nice. And now let's talk about setuping a very good displayer for the second weapon set. I honestly think second weapon set is absolutely worth it. And as a main item in the second weapon set, I'm using Arvil Wheel Hardwood Torch. That's a pretty basic shield which gives you 50% increased skill effect duration, and it's pretty good for a curse. I'm also using a basic wand with just a little cast speed, but if you can get some additional levels, it will be pretty nice too. So how we are going to set up that? When you have additional points, you can click right here, choosing weapon set 1 or weapon set 2, and allocate points exactly for that weapon set. So for example, right here I have 2 weapon points available. For first set, I'm allocating them there for the damage, and for second set, I'm allocating them here for curse effect. That way both my sets are pretty much full, and when I'm changing weapons, my tree also will change based on the situation. So right now, for example, I have a red set on, and before that I had like a green set on. I'm also going to showcase which passive takes for which set. You also need to make sure when you're opening this pair that it used with the weapon set 2 and not with the weapon set 1. That way it's going to be automatical, so when you're casting the displayer, your weapon set will change, and when you're casting Essence Raise again, it will change to the main one. Just make sure it's working for you that way. If you don't really want to bother with weapon set, you can pretty much ignore it and just invest points, exactly like I'm investing them in the first set, and you will have a little less damage because this pair will have less duration and it will have some delay for casting too. But that's a particular option. There's also another very cool trick for Lich that you can use to pretty much get your life, because for example you lost some life right now and you just don't know what to do. Even when you are clicking on the well, your life is not coming back and you're afraid if you will lose your energy shield you will die immediately. So in that case you can just buy Mask of the Stitch Demon. It's a very basic unique right now and it's available without a single kind of issue. You can just wear it for a second, your life will go up to the top and you wear your Azure Disdain back. So that's heavily recommended, and that way you will be able to recover your energy shield, at least in the bad situations. Let's talk about our passives and what we're currently using for the main set. So for the main set, I'm literally taking everything damage related. I'm going up for Dark Entries, I'm going up here for Witherway. Important part, you don't really need to take Pure Chaos, because Pure Chaos is giving 11% of damage as extra Chaos damage only for hits. So for your damage over time, it's not really providing any kind of bonuses unfortunately, and Essence Drain is mostly damage over time skill. So that way you cannot allocate that point. At the start of the tree, I'm still going through the spell damage, because I think it's a pretty nice way. I'm going to the left, taking Spiral into Insanity because it can give us global defenses and chaos damage too. And I'm taking Spiral into Mania because cast speed and chaos resistance feels very good. Getting more chaos resistance is pretty important as well. So I'm taking all of it. Here I'm taking Entropy for particular points as well. I'm taking chaos damage, you can say 1 point if you will go here. But I think chaos damage is pretty much worth it because there's not a lot of damage points in the whole tree currently for chaos. I'm taking Essence Infusion and all bonuses for Energy Shield here and Dampen Shield right here. To the left, I think Hallowed is absolutely worth it. It provides a very good stun recovery, stun threshold too, and when you're going to it, you're not wasting any points because there's only Energy Shield. For Illuminated Crown, I'm currently not using it because I'm running at 0 disdain and the amount of Energy Shield on that helmet is not really that high. I think that Void is absolutely worth it too, and to the right I'm passing up here and taking Quick Response. If in the future you're going to have more points than that, you can pretty much invest them in Energy Shield or take Aversive Ascent just for more cast speed if you are still required. And for the second weapon set, I'm pretty much dropping all damage related nodes, like most of them here, and some of them here. We're losing some particular duration based on that, but it's not a very big issue. Also dropping Spiral of Insanity too, and I'm pretty much taking everything curse related, so I'm taking Impending Doom, I'm taking Fated End, I'm taking Lingering Whispers, and up to that curse magnitude. I don't think that Master of Hexes is that amazing because it provides 25% reduced curse duration, and it's not really nice because we want our curse to be at the enemy as long as possible. But if you feel like magnitudes are important for you, you can pretty much just take it. So that's the whole tree. Another important part is pretty much why we are taking Energy Shield Recharge and what should be our numbers with it. Currently, I have 1 second delay of Energy Shield Recharge and 1000 recharge per second, which feels absolutely amazing. My Energy Shield is around 5,500, so closer to 6,000 even, and it feels very good because that way we can be very tanky and we can take a lot of damage too. The only downside right now is that my chaos resistance is a little too low, and I will probably try to add more into that. Making your recharge delay around at least 1.5 seconds is pretty important because that way you will be able to constantly recharge Energy Shield, even in the middle of the fight. Because enemies just can't hit you that often, especially when you're using Temporal Chains. And Energy Shield recharge per second is pretty important too. I recommend to have at least 800 because it's going to help you survive significantly, and you will need only a few seconds to get all your shield back. We are still trying to stack a little life for mana regeneration because our mana regeneration is based on life. My currently mana regeneration is around 92, it's not that amazing, and we have what we have. Unfortunately, getting more life is kinda harder because items are limited, and I'm going to cover it a little later on this guide. So, the most important part from that taking Essence Infusion together with additional bonuses such as, for example, Convalescence or Quick Response is pretty important and is going to help you significantly while regenerating your life. And your life is basically Energy Shield here. Another important part here, if you're not on the full life, you're going to receive 30% faster start of Energy Shield Recharge. And since your life cannot be changed when you are not on the full one, and when you have Energy Shield, you will have not a full life pretty often, so I think Quick Response is a very good node. Talking about our Ascendancy, I currently have the full Ascendancy, and I'm taking Soulless Form, after that Eternal Life, I'm taking Eldritch Empowerment, and the last point could be a little different. We have Rupture the Soul and Crystalline Phylactery. Both of those options are pretty good, but since I don't have a crazy jewels to utilize with Crystalline Phylactery, I think Rupture the Soul should help you significantly with clearing monsters. And because you're using Blasphemy, and enemies are just going to constantly explode, it's helping a lot, and I recommend to use it at least for the clear. For the bosses, you can swap for Crystalline Phylactery if you feel that way. But currently that setup is working very good. Eldritch Empowerment by itself is not a very big issue. As you can see, my energy shield is practically not really moving even when I'm casting. So I would recommend to take it because it provides a huge damage bonus. If you don't have the last Ascendancy, you can drop Rupture the Soul, for example, and you're probably going to be fine. Now let's talk about our itemization because I think it's very important. First off, I recommend to use Daedra's Tenor because it's providing a pretty decent spell damage, and reduced cast speed is not such a big issue because you can pick cast speed on so many occasions in your tree or on other items. So I'm using Daedra Tenor for a pretty decent amount of time, and I think it's worth it, at least at the moment. If you can afford it, Zero Disdain is currently available too. It's not really that expensive, but yeah, you can get it with at least 40% of maximum life as extra maximum energy shield. It gives 10% of damage taken by passes energy shield too, so it's 10% of pure damage mitigation, so it's heavily recommended. And the rest of the items are pretty much rares, and I'm going to showcase them one by one. For the wand, you will just need to get level of Chaos spell gems together with spell damage and chaos damage. If you can get cast speed on that, it will be very good, but such wand could be expensive and cost at least more than 3 divines. But genuinely running it feels pretty nice, and if you can get cast speed there, make sure you will do that. For the focus, you just need to take spell damage or chaos damage together with level 4 spell skills, and that's it. If you can also will be able to get a cast speed on top, it will be just perfect. Having higher energy shield helps a lot too because it's going to give you more survivability. For the rings, I'm pretty much running chaos damage together with rarities and some cast speed and resistances. But most of those parts are not really that important. I would probably just focus on the cast speed, rarity and resistances if it's a possibility for you. The rest is not really that big because increased chaos damage right here is not providing a huge damage bonus. For the second ring, it's pretty much the same, so as you can see, a lot of resistances and no other bonuses. I'm just focusing on capping it out right now. For the Amulet, it will be very cool to have +2 levels of all spell skills and increased cast speed. Together with spell damage or energy shield is going to work just perfectly. If you're interested in Unnoid, I genuinely recommend to use something like Reverberation, for example, because increased area of effect is providing a very decent bonus. You can also get Profane Commander, but it's very expensive right now, so it's just for the future. Getting something defensive such as Calibration, for example, could be an option too, but generally only Reverberation right now is option which is not really too expensive and still could provide nice amount of quality of life. Talking about the rest of the items, for the body armor, I'm mostly taking energy shield together with fire and lightning resistance. Getting spirit on the body armor could be very nice because that way you will be able to activate your weathering presence. And if you can get faster start of energy shield recharge as an implicit, it's going to be just perfect. For the belt, you're pretty much just aiming for some mana, maybe life if you can get it, and resistances. I currently don't have life and it's still working just fine, but if you will roll life here, you will be able to just recover your mana faster, so it's probably a nice idea. For the boots, we are aiming some movement speed. I recommend at least 15% as an absolute minimum, but perfectly you will need more, and I'm probably going to replace those soon. You're also going to get some additional resistances, and if you can, just energy shield or intelligence. Another part is pretty much flasks, so for the life flask, I recommend to have recover applied instantly because you're going to use your life flask to just save yourself if your energy shield is gone in some situation. And for the mana flask, we can have a very good bonus. Removes 50% of mana recovered from life when used and 90% increase mana recovered. It's going to help significantly with mana recovery. And as you can see when I'm clicking, I can click it. When I'm clicking that, I'm not losing my life. So even when I'm clicking that mana flask, I'm not losing my life just because our life cannot be changed. So it's working just fine. And for the charm, I still recommend grants immunity to freeze because it's helping a lot right now. With such setup, you should have a very comfortable gameplay in the proper endgame and will be able to fight even basic pinnacles. To proceed even further and improve your damage, you will probably need to improve significantly the wand. You can theoretically get up to +5 of all chaos spell skills and get even more spell damage and chaos damage. you will need to improve your focus and just focus on those items. Getting better rings and maybe even ingenuity could be a possible option for the future as well. And there's also a ring called Snake Pit. It's currently very expensive, but it provides a very good bonus of chain. If you will get it, you will be able to drop the chain from Essence Rings completely, and it will help you significantly while clearing maps, so it's probably going to feel very good to you. If you will be able to afford it later on in the game, make sure that you will do. Progressing even further into the endgame, it also will be recommended to make Dark Effigy more apparent and just make it deal more damage too. You will be able to run something like Envenom for it, for example, and you will be able to add more support that way. Maybe dropping Acceleration for additional damage is also will be a great idea. I'm going to cover that in the next guides too, if there are going to be a few, because that's pretty much the only way how you can transition your damage further to reach higher pinnacle bosses. But right now, build feels very comfortable, it clears the maps without a lot of issues, it has a very nice feeling when you're just throwing one skill away and enemies are dying, so I can pretty much say that Lich is showcasing good results. I think using Phylactery for the future is also could be a very good thing to improve your damage against bosses and such. But clear right now is very good, and especially with the Snake Ring in the future, I think it's going to be even better. So that's been my guide for Chaos Lich Endgame. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you still have some questions, you can pretty much ask them on my Twitch or in the YouTube comments. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and ronarray out.